What's up, everybody? So I was gonna do I was gonna do instructional video, but let's talk about some news. I'm gonna talk about Rick Beato because he's trying to get Congress, and he's going in front of he's got a thing with this copyright block thing through YouTube, and I'm gonna explain how this works. I didn't really want to talk about this, but he's barking up the wrong tree, and I'll explain why and how this is going to work. Pull that up, inappropriate. So here's the problem, and I told this to top music attorney. She puts disclaimers. Rick should not be giving advice to other YouTubers on YouTube. Number one, he's not a lawyer, and he should do a disclaimer saying go seek an attorney. The best way is just to ask an attorney about copyright law. So you have to understand something. We all sign agreements to come on YouTube. YouTube owns our channel. If you get knocked down or blocked or taken off, you can't get your content. They don't give a shit. So let's do some numbers. YouTube makes about $6 billion a year, I think, on advertising alone. That's a lot of money. They do have the best of the best lawyers. But what happens is, when you try to use something for fair use, YouTube will automatically strike you. They don't want to get sued by the labels who own the product, whether it's publishing or the artist, depending on the contracts. You have that. Now here's the important thing. Sampling has changed. There is no limit to seconds or bars or any of that anymore, which means if you put something on for 5 seconds, it's a copyright strike. They changed that. It's different now. You used to be able to do like 3 bars or something of, but all that stuff going, like Vanilla Ice. He got sued, he lost. Ding 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 ding. He added that note, and they said nope, because there is discretion. But law is law. And here, I'm going to explain something. So I went over to a friend's house, and they put a fence up. I have a contractor's company, and I'm a consultant for the state as well. My business is ceased to exist. I don't do it no more. But I was licensed, insured, the whole 9 yards. I still have LLCs and S corps and stuff for money reasons with the music industry. Their house sits back on the property, which means the front part of the house is a garage, and it's turned sideways. So when you walk out from way back on the property, you walk into the side of the garage. So the garage is actually facing the street sideways, and it's close, where a house would be. So technically, the back of their house is their backyard. Their house is the backyard because of the way it sits. Now the way they built these were in the 60s, I believe, or in 58. So codes have changed over the years. So they use this. That was grandfathered in. But they don't use discretion. They only go about codes and laws. So they put up a fence, and it's a secondary street. It's not on a main street, and it's in an association. They put the fence about 6 feet, 8 feet from the street, which is pretty far. And the reason why they put a fence in is because they put a pool in, and the pool is behind the garage, which is towards the front of the house, towards the front of the street. Now here's how law works in codes. Everybody passed it except one a-hole who was 26 years old. He said that the fence has to be 25 feet from this, and he was looking at the building and saying it has to be in line with this, which is the back, and it's actually supposed to be the side. But because these were built in a long time ago, they don't give a shit. So this young kid doesn't understand what the law used to be. That's the problem, number one. He's going by new law, and the reason why they want a fence up is for safety. So they had to take the fence out and push it 5 feet from the pool because of the property line, and he wanted it 2.5 feet off the garage, which would push the fence back about 10 feet. So now it's 20 feet up on their property, 18 feet. The problem with this is now the fence is right near the pool. Common sense would tell you a fence is to deter kids from going over and getting in the pool and maybe drowning. The problem is when you push the fence all the way up to the pool, it entices people. But this guy didn't want to let it go, so they had to move the fence. Common sense tells you that is wrong. And the whole idea is to deter people from coming on your property, especially near a pool, and getting injured, because then they get over the fence and they're on your property where they can sue your homeowner's insurance. That's why the insurance and the management property where the community is wants the fence up. And they had no problem with the fence. Now this is what Rick doesn't understand, and I'll explain copyright strikes. So YouTube automatically in their algorithm puts a copyright strike because YouTube doesn't own the music, and Rick doesn't own his channel. It's owned by YouTube. You sign an agreement and you come on, but you got to follow law. Federal law on copyright strikes is it doesn't matter how many seconds you use. And I saw his video. You should be able to use a verse and a chorus. Bullshit. You don't own the music. It's not yours to even use in fair use. You have to write and get permission to use it. Now here's where he's wrong. Because he says the label grabs the money. Yes, because you're not demonetizing that one video for fair use. If it's educational, you can't make money, which means the label don't make money. If you demonetize that video, which you can, and say I'm using this for fair use, so I don't get paid for this video. But he wants paid. And if you want paid, that belongs to the label. He doesn't know the fucking law. I told you guys before, his record label failed and his studio failed. He got a popular YouTube channel as an influencer, but he knows shit about business and he knows shit about going before Congress, because Congress can't change that law because the record labels hold all the keys, which is money. Now what may happen is if he keeps getting those copyright strikes, he can lose his fucking channel. That's $15K to $25K a month gone. And he's not doing anything musically except his channel. Bad fucking idea. No fucking brains. You're gonna sue Sony? I don't even believe that he's going at bat and winning these copyright strikes. He might get them taken off, but they work out an agreement where the money goes to the label. That music was created by somebody. He owns it. But if he signed a contract and he gave away his publishing, like Michael Anthony, he can't do anything with it. Whoever owns that publishing and the rights to it, it's theirs. Even if they didn't create it. The contract will tell you who owns it. This is where Rick and Rhett Shull, who says he agrees with Rick, are two fucking dumbasses that don't know fucking copyright law. And Top Music Attorney has never dealt with any major labels. She doesn't know the law either. I think reaction videos and all that shit should be taken away. Reaction videos is the same thing what Rick is doing, and all of it should be a copyright strike. And then you would get rid of a lot of people who just do reaction videos to anything. Now a reaction, the only thing that I say would be fair use for educational purposes is the news. Repeating what news, or if it's a news organization and they have some kind of meeting or it's a debate, that's fair game. Because it's just talking points. And if you want to see that, maybe you do a 50-50 split on a reaction like that because of who brought up the story. You shouldn't be making money because you don't have the idea and you just show video. That's wrong. All of it is wrong. If I go and I play in a bar and I play other people's music, they need a license, which pays them X amount of money per month to have their TVs up and other things, because they use that as their business. Even though if it's just news and educational, they're still playing that. And whatever gets played, they have to have a license for. So if Rick bought a licensing agreement and paid his $150,000 a year, which he don't want to, that would be a different story. If he wrote the labels or the artist to find out who owns the publishing and said, can I use these in a video, send me emails, and then I'll give them to YouTube so there's no copyright strikes. If I make money, it's a split 50-50 because I'm helping promote you. And then people want to know what the fuck is wrong with music. It's guys like Rhett Scholl and Rick Beato and people that don't know a lot. There's people on here that have had 100 million subscribers. Now his channel's grown, so he thinks he's up here and he's got clout. YouTube don't give a shit. They make billions. They got Mr. Beast with like, I don't know, what's he got, 200-300 million subscribers? You got even gamers. I don't care if you do a mod in there. You shouldn't be making money off of gaming. No. You're using Minecraft or something that was created by another company. Now some of those companies are in different countries, so they get around it by showing it only in the United States. Because our laws aren't international. They don't apply to China. But that's the problem with the TikTok thing, with everyone saying, it's bad and China's making a shitload of money and no, we're not making money off of it, and most of the TikTok is coming from the United States. I think all of it should go away, to be honest with you. Start your own private music company that can stream somewhere. You can start your own channel, like a radio station. You could start a podcast on some kind of network. What's his name? Marty Schwartz has something going on with like cable TV, I believe, like with Netflix or something. So go do a Netflix deal, and then let them deal with it. You see, this can work against you, is what I'm getting at. Because the more you bitch about it, YouTube might just go, fuck this guy. We don't need him. He's a pain in my ass. Let's hurt him in the pocket. Gone. What is Rick going to do to YouTube? Zero. YouTube owns his channel. It's at their discretion. It's like a right to work state. They can fire you for anything. After 90 days, they could say he stinks. You could go to court and it's a right to work state. You can't win. That's the problem. And these companies are based in certain states. Their headquarters. So there's a lot that goes into that. Virginia is a big place where a lot of companies are at because their laws are geared towards there. Silicon Valley has their set of rules because a lot of the companies are there. They lobby together and change the law in certain states, so these companies go to different states. See, he doesn't understand all this, and I don't understand how he says he was a music mogul and he produced this and did that and did this and then testifies in front of Congress and he don't know jack about law. It's fucking baffling. And then you got Rhett on his coattails talking shit. And I don't believe that politics, religion, that doesn't go, like Rhett's posted stuff with the jab, protesting with the immigrants. Why are you doing that on a music channel? I talk about like, okay, so Logan Paul, Jake Paul's brother, FBI just raided his house because of the Bitcoin shit and the scamming off of YouTube and using YouTube as a social media influencer to start Bitcoin companies with somebody who gets an idea. They get together from the base ground, they give him $1 million, they do a opening day, and he's not supposed to sell his coins, and he sells them, and out of $1 million Bitcoin, he makes $5 million, and then it bankrupts the company and it folds. He's not done that once, not twice. He's done it multiple, over and over again, and then says, I didn't know. How do you not know with all the lawsuits and hearing that these companies fold because you did what you were told not to do? Because it's a lie. And he's going to be in a lot of trouble. A lot of those guys. CoffeeZilla and Voidzilla. I love his channel. He goes in depth. And I reported on this maybe a year ago because I saw with the social media with the honey pot thing and a bunch of other social media scammers. And that's what pissed me off. And then now I get this letter from a company saying, hey man, yeah, we make agreements with specific YouTubers and we may pay them to put our social media influencer who we give a deal with to push. You know what YouTube has become? Amazon. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some good stuff on here. You just have to weed through it. But it's like Amazon. If there's so much of the same products, you have to go through them and see what's good or not. Now, some of these channels are really good. Justin Ostrander, I just watched a video on him. Excellent video on how to get a gig. He tells how he got his break in Nashville and he was going out to the bars. A guitar player came off stage and told the person that put the show together, hey, I can't do the gig. I got to leave by 5 that day, so I can't do next week. And Justin walked up and tapped her on the shoulder. What did I tell you guys on how to get a gig? You know what he says? I know you have a big roster of players that are probably really good, but I can do the gig for you and you won't have any issue. Smart. Because some of those really good players she probably has might have, we all know musicians and how temperamental they can be, and Justin is a very low-key person. He's very personable and he's a super nice guy. Now, do I agree with everything he says? No, but his channel is awesome. I like Tone Junkies because I'm in Modelers. Excellent. Gus, I know, and I wish Gus would do more videos like on the Tonex stuff. That was awesome. That was very informative, and I really like the Tonex. My problem for Tonex is live. It doesn't have a big enough pedal where I can have all my presets. Even my fractal, I need a rhythm lead and clean. And then I need the, so I don't use the pedal to bank up and down or tuner. I just flip a switch and I go to, so like I'll have 2 presets side by side. And it's got 3 sounds and 3 sounds. I don't need more than 6 sounds when I do a gig. I got my wah, my wireless, and I got a big tuner that stays on, so when I'm playing I can look down and see if anything is out of tune. And that's the way I like it, simplicity. And I run the fractal into the return loop of an amp so that amp gets that 2 breakup sound. Now the problem sometimes with some of these fractals and stuff is one is digital and tubes are polyphonic and they're temperamental. The good thing is those 2 patches, I have cabs on them, and if I have to switch to the other 2, I got the other 2 patches side by side and they are direct. So I figured that out. Now I could run both and split the signal at the end and run A and B, A to in the amp and B to the front of house. But I don't do that because I don't want them to know what I'm doing and then see it and then hear both sounds and go, dude, just get rid of the amp. Because I do like my volume with the cab pushing the air, and Fractal will do that. And I have 100 sounds like that. Now the Hughes and Kettner Core Blade is similar. I could do 4 presets and 4 presets and just have the MIDI controller, and then have 2 rhythm lead, and then like a edge of breakup and a clean, and then bank up, and there it is. The problem with that is they're very heavy. They weigh probably like 60 pounds, and they're very big, and they're monsters. The Fractals, even the EVH here is very light compared to that, and I'll run the Fractal into that, just 1 amp, and then I'll bring my pedals so that if I need them, I'll go that way. But it's hard to beat the Fractal, But the Tonex, I don't like the pedal the way it's set up. It's not good for live. I just don't like the way they set it up. Now if they did like a 9, like the Fractal 9, where you could do 4 on, let's say let's say 3 on top and 3 on the bottom, where you could do 3 presets and then have it seen so you could turn on and off effects, and then you have 2 more over here where you can bank up and down and hold one and your tuner comes on. If ToneX did that, that's the way to go. The sounds of ToneX are probably as good, if not better, than Fractal. The problem is live. In the studio, ToneX is great, but so is Fractal. But I am very used to Fractal, so I like Fractal that way. So there's some news on the copyright stuff and how that works. Now, I didn't know until today that sampling thing did change. You used to be able to sample X amount of measures, like bars, and I think it was 3. That's all gone. If you play 5 seconds of a song, you could get a copyright strike. And YouTube does it automatically because they don't want to be sued by the big boys. But YouTube got big, so I don't know. And it depends the agreement they made with all these labels. Who knows? So do I think you should be on spot? No. No, you don't need to be doing videos about Spotify's top 10. You don't. Someone could go to Spotify and just check the top 10 themselves and listen to it. You don't need to do that. Why subject yourself to elimination or possibilities? Like, I'm almost 60. I'll be 60 in a half a year. I studied martial arts for 20 something years. Now, I'm a big guy and I'm pretty fast and I hit like a donkey. And I've even challenged guys like Jake Paul. But would I get into a ring at my age with a professional fighter? No fucking way. I'm not stupid enough to risk my health that way. Jake Paul, he's not a pro fighter and he's fighting people that aren't even good. I even saw Tyson hold a punch that could have knocked him out. He knew, but he didn't. If he hit him and knocked him out, he don't get paid. So you have to look at the contracts as well. Contracts will tell you everything that can be done. Now again, Rick can contact labels for the artist and ask for written permission. Does he do that? No. That's the easiest way you can do it. I don't know why he doesn't do that. So if it's educational for fair use, no one makes money on it. And then no one can claim money. And you don't, and his whole thing is for fair use because he sees like the gamers you doing it, and it's not fair. But he shouldn't be allowed to use it, and neither should these gamers. That's my personal opinion. You should not be able to use anything somebody else created to make money. It's stealing, plain and simple. Steal a riff, steal a lyric, get a copyright strike. You're going to court. Led Zeppelin's been sued. Many bands have been sued for it. Even if it's similar. But when you do, there's no fair use when you're making money. Because that's not fair. And then you want to keep all the money? Maybe if you worked out a deal with all these record labels and say, look, I'll promote these. I want written permission that I can use the top 10 songs or whoever your artists are. I will give you half of my, because I'm helping promote. But you know what they're going to say? Fuck you. We're making millions already on it. Your channel for a million, 2 million subscribers that watch it, what do you get? What is it? $15 for every $5 for every 1,500 streams. So you times that times what? 1,000 times 5. That's piddly money for the record label. They don't give a shit. So why do they care what you do, Rick? They don't care. So there you go. That's how it works. And I wish people would actually look at the fucking law. Now, as far as Rhett with the shot, how do we know he didn't get a Band-Aid and just stick it over? How do we know Rick is actually hiring lawyers? I don't see no paperwork. I don't see lawyers promoting themselves on YouTube. Hey, you got copyright strikes? Call me. I'll get them off. I don't see any of that shit. Until I see a bill to Rick Beato from his lawyer for every month, bullshit. I call bullshit. Show it so people can see before you tell them there's ways around it. Show them how much it's going to cost to do this. Because if you get copyright strikes and there's 50 of them a day, 50 of them a month, show people how much that's going to cost. And explain to them and put a little disclaimer. This isn't legal advice, but there is a way around it that I do it, and here's what it costs me. Transparency. There you go. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed the video.